So first and foremost, we create a new document. Then we'll choose a solid color. So we are going to copy this first source code. Once we have the solid color, we are going to create a new layer. We grab a soft tone brush, set our foreground color to white, increase our opacity to 100, and we are going to use the right bracket key to increase the brush size. So we are going to click just once. With the move tool selected, we are going to change the blend mode to overlay. This is before and after. We are going to create a curves adjustment layer. Before and after. We are also going to create an exposure adjustment layer. With the mask selected, first of all, you change the blend mode to multiply. With the mask selected, we are going to grab a soft tone brush, set the foreground to black, increase the brush size by the right bracket key, and then we make a few clicks. This is before and after. So now let's go for our resources. So first of all, we'll copy the image. Ctrl C to copy, Ctrl V to paste. We align it in the middle, vertically in the middle. Then we are going to go for our next item. So we can put this layer off and copy this one. Ctrl C to copy, Ctrl V to paste. So we drop this layer. We copy our next item. We take this layer up above all layers. Then we position it this way. With the 3 layers selected, Ctrl G to group. Ctrl A, then we align vertically in the middle. So we are going to grab our text and position it just this way. The next item is this leaf. Ctrl C to copy, Ctrl V to paste. So we are going to make a copy, Ctrl J. We transform it to make it smaller a bit. Then we click enter to confirm it. We make this smaller. We make it smaller a bit. With the layer selected, Ctrl J to make a copy. Right click and flip. With this layer selected, we are going to lock all these layers so that they don't distract us. Ctrl J to make another copy. So we move it this way and position it just beneath the layers like this. Now we have everything in place, so we are going to apply shadows and highlights to almost everything around here. So first of all, we are going to select this image, apply an exposure adjustment layer onto it. So we go for shadows. This is before and after. With the mask selected, Ctrl I to invert. We grab a soft round brush. We decrease the opacity a bit. We set our foreground to white. We use the left key to reduce the brush size. We zoom in and we are going to paint some shadows. So we are going to create another exposure adjustment layer. We clip that onto the layer. With the man selected, Ctrl I to invert. Then we are going to paint some more shadows. I'm going to create another exposure adjustment layer. Clipped onto the layer. We go for highlights. This is before and after. With the mark selected, Ctrl I to invert. We grab a soft round brush. Where we are going to paint some highlights. So we are going to create a curve adjustment layer. We clip it onto the layer so the effect applies only to the layer. This is before and after. With the bottle selected, I'm going to apply an exposure adjustment, a curve adjustment layer, sorry. So we clip it onto the layer. This is before and after. So I'm going to reduce the opacity a bit. So I'm going to create an exposure adjustment layer now. Clip it onto the layer. First, curves layer. With the mark selected, Ctrl I to invert. We grab a soft round brush. We increase the brush size by the right bracket key. We set our foreground to white. And we are going to paint. We reduce the opacity first. And we can paint now. We zoom in and paint some more shadows. This is before and after. With the move tool selected, we are going to select this item and apply exposure. So we take sliders now for shadows. So we clip it onto the layer so the effect applies only to that layer. With the mark selected, Ctrl I to invert. Then we are going to grab a soft round brush. We increase the opacity a bit. Our foreground is set to white. We zoom in and we are going to paint some shadows. So we are going to paint some shadows this way. This is before and after. With the move tool selected, We are going to create a layer below this layer. Under this layer, we are going to create a new layer, increase the brush size. Then we are right clicking and changing the roundness. So we zoom in and apply some contact shadows. We set our foreground to white, increase the opacity to 100. So we take down the opacity. We create another layer. We zoom in and create some contact shadows. We are going to reduce the opacity. We create another layer. We make the brush size smaller and create another shadow. We create another layer. Select our soft tone brush. We are going to increase the brush. I'm not feeling the shadows, and definitely I'm going to change this image because it is way beneath the bottle. So I'm going to adjust this and we can then apply the shadows. So we can delete this layer. Create another layer and apply a contact shadow beneath this layer and take down the opacity. Create another layer. Increase the brush size and create some contact shadows just beneath the bottle. Ctrl Z to undo that. We grab our move tool. So we zoom in and select this item. So I'm going to delete all the effects on this item. Once that is gone, I'm going to delete the shadows as well. And I'm going to position it so that it's actually in line. And I'm going to apply all the exposure curves and every effect that was deleted. And I'm going to apply shadows onto it. Any other thing that was done earlier. So we are going to create a new layer now and create some content shadows, reduce the opacity. Now once we have everything in place, so we zoom in with the layer selected to create another layer. Grab a soft hand brush and apply some contact shadows just here. So we click and we're going to take down the opacity. With this layer selected, we are going to create a solid color. Copy the second hex code. Once we have it in place, we are going to right click and clip it onto the layer. And we are going to change our blend mode to linear dot add. With the mask selected, Ctrl I to invert. We grab a soften brush. We take down the opacity. Right click and change the roundness to normal. Set our foreground to white since we are painting some highlight. And we are just going to paint some highlights around here since we are going to create a light source just after this. So we have it this way, before and after. That is pretty cool, so we can move on. So with this layer selected, I'm going to apply a shadows onto this layer. So first of all, we apply a curves adjustment layer. Once we have the curves applied onto the layer, we go for shadows. So we create an exposure onto it and make it darker. With the mark selected, Ctrl I to invert. We grab a soft hand brush. We zoom in and we are going to paint some shadows. So I'm going to create another exposure adjustment layer by this time around for highlight. We clip that onto the layer. This is before and after. With the mark selected, Ctrl I to invert. I grab a soft hand brush, set our foreground to white, and we are going to paint some highlight. I'm going to reduce the opacity a bit. This is way too much. So same applies for this as well. First of all, I create a curves adjustment layer. This is before and after, and I'm going to create an exposure adjustment layer. I'm going for shadows before and after with the mark selected, Ctrl I to invert. Then I paint some shadows. So we go for highlight as well. Clip onto the layer so the effect applies only to the layer, then you paint some highlight. Always remember you set your foreground to white once you are painting. And when you have to clean the excess, you set your foreground to black. So I'm going to apply curves adjustment layer onto the one beneath. Yeah. So I'm going to create a new layer. Grab the polygonal lasso tool. We are going to create a selection. We right click and we fill. So we choose color and we copy our last hex code, the third one. Then we paste. Once we have it in place, we click OK, then we click OK. Ctrl D to deselect. So with the move to selected, we right click and convert this to a smart object. In the layer selected, we create a new layer above it. We grab a soft turn brush. We increase our opacity to 100. We set our foreground to white. And then we click once. We change the blend mode to overlay. This is before and after. Then we take this layer out. We create a mask with the mask selected. We select the gradient tool. So we have it from foreground to transparent since we are going to erase some parts. So you just drag this way to erase. With the mask selected, you drag and you erase. So with the layer selected, you go to filter and you apply Gaussian blur. We are going to change the blend mode to overlay. before and after. We are going to reduce the opacity. Make a copy, Ctrl J. Then we are going to set the blend mode to normal. With the second one selected, the layout normal. Then we are going to grab a soft brush, set our foreground to black. And we are just going to clean. So we are erasing some parts. So let's reduce the opacity a bit. So we select the layer with the blend mode set to overlay. We are going to change the Gaussian blur. So with the layer with normal blend mode. So we set it at 125 with the max selected. We set our foreground to white. We reduce the opacity. And we are going to paint some highlight. This is before and after. So we can take down the opacity. We select this layer as well. So I'm going to copy this item now. Ctrl C to copy, Ctrl V to paste, Ctrl T to transform. So we scale it up. We click the check mark to confirm. So we're going to change the blend mode to screen. Once that is in place, we are going to create a levels adjustment layer and clip that onto only this layer so the effects apply only. This is before and after. We are going to create a hue or saturation adjustment layer. Now we are trying to make the colors match. So we are actually going to adjust all these settings here so that the colors will match as per the background. This is before and after. With the layer selected, you create a mask, Ctrl I to invert, so everything is gone. Now we select a soft brush. Okay, we decrease the opacity a bit, set our foreground to white. Once that is in place, then we can paint some back. So we are actually painting just some few items. Since we don't need all of that, we set our foreground to black and we erase some of it because it's too much. We can actually set it back to white and paint some more. Once everything is in place, we are going to merge all layers. Ctrl Alt Shift E to merge layers. Right click and convert to a smart object. So we go to filter and I want to apply a camera raw filter onto the layer. Onto this image we have merged. So we can play with these settings. We are going to adjust it until we like it, then we confirm that. Then we click OK. So this is before and after camera raw filter. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next one. Until then, stay creative.